The morning sun gently filters through the curtains, casting soft beams of light across the breakfast table. The house is quiet, the only sound the clinking of silverware on plates, and the distant hum of the city outside. At the table, each family member sits in silence, absorbed in their own world. The father scans the newspaper, his brow furrowed in concentration. The mother scrolls through her phone, eyes fixed on the glowing screen. The children, too, are engrossed in their own devices, each one in their own little world, absorbed by the glow of their screens. The air around the table feels heavy with unspoken words. It's as if the space between them has grown wider, though none of them say a word about it. The food is tasteless, the atmosphere thick with the weight of missed conversations. The subtle tension in the room goes unnoticed by the family, as they have become accustomed to it over time. The father shifts slightly in his seat, glancing up from his newspaper, but only briefly. His eyes meet the mother's, but they quickly look away, as though both are unsure of what to say. The children don't notice. They are lost in their digital worlds, their heads bent down, absorbed in the virtual world of their screens. The only sounds that break the silence are the faint clicks of buttons and the rustling of pages. The mother sighs quietly, but it goes unnoticed. She feels a pang in her heart, the distance between them all growing wider, even as they sit so close. Her eyes drift over to the father, and then to the children. But she cannot find the words to bridge the gap. How long has it been since they really talked? How long since they sat down together and shared their thoughts? The question lingers in her mind, but she pushes it aside, burying it beneath the surface, like so many other things she doesn't want to face. She glances over at the father again, his eyes fixed on the paper, the faintest hint of weariness in his expression. He looks tired, though he's hardly aware of it. He's been working long hours, driven by the desire to provide for the family, to give them more money, more comfort, more things. But somewhere along the way, he's forgotten what truly matters: the moments of connection, the simple acts of sharing a meal, of sharing a thought, of being present with each other. The children, too, have retreated into their own worlds, their laughter and joy replaced by the flicker of screens and the hum of technology. They are growing up in a world that is constantly connected, yet somehow they are more disconnected than ever before. The mother wonders how much of their lives she is missing, how much of their growing up is happening behind the walls of their devices. But she doesn't know how to change it, how to bring them back together, how to fill the growing emptiness that hangs in the air. For a moment, the mother's gaze shifts to the clock on the wall, and the minutes pass by unnoticed. Time seems to slip away, as though it, too, is fading into the background, unnoticed and forgotten. Each minute spent in silence only deepens the distance between them, They sit at the table, side by side, yet so far apart. It feels as though their connection, once strong, has been lost in the rush of daily life. The distractions and the expectations that constantly pull them in different directions. The meal is finished in silence. The children leave the table, their devices still in hand, and the father returns to his work. The mother lingers, clearing the plates, but her mind is elsewhere. She wonders how to change things, how to bridge the gap that has grown so wide between them. The silence lingers long after the meal is over, and the house feels emptier than before. Each of them retreats to their own space, the connection lost, but none of them speak of it. And so the day begins, just like every other day, quiet, disconnected, with the weight of unspoken words hanging in the air. The afternoon light spills across the living room as the family members go about their individual routines. The father is hunched over his desk, buried in paperwork, his mind occupied with tasks that have little to do with his family. The mother is in the kitchen, preparing dinner, but her movements are slow, almost mechanical. She hums softly to herself, but the melody doesn't quite match the feeling in her heart. The children, too, are in their rooms, headphones on, absorbed in their virtual worlds, disconnected from each other and from the warmth of home. As she stirs a pot on the stove, the mother's thoughts drift again to the silence that hangs heavy in the house. How long has it been since they truly talked to each other? How long has it been since they shared a moment of laughter, of joy, of connection? She feels a knot in her stomach, a growing sense of longing for something more, something deeper. She knows that happiness is not found in the material things they've accumulated, or in the busy schedules they keep. But how can she bring this to her family? How can she make them see that happiness is not about things, but about each other? The father, hearing the soft clatter of dishes in the kitchen, looks up from his work, but only for a moment. His thoughts are far away, consumed by the pressure of his job, the constant drive to provide for his family. He thinks about the next promotion, the next step in his career, the things he must do to secure their future. But when he looks at his wife, he feels a pang of guilt. She looks tired, and her smile seems more forced than genuine. How long has it been since they had a real conversation? How long has it been since he noticed how she was feeling, truly noticed her? For the children, the day passes without incident. They return to their rooms, where the world outside doesn't matter, where their lives are consumed by screens and social media. The eldest, a teenager, scrolls through her phone, her eyes glued to the bright display, her mind occupied by the lives of others. She reads about the latest trends, the latest gossip, the latest celebrities. She feels a sense of inadequacy, a feeling that she is not living the life she is supposed to. that she is missing out on something, but she doesn't know what that something is. She's seen glimpses of it other families on social media, smiling in perfect pictures, going on vacations, sharing moments of joy. But the reality of her own family is different. There is no laughter, no shared moments, just the quiet hum of routine. Asterisk, the younger sibling, meanwhile, spends his time playing video games, lost in a world of fantasy and adventure, disconnected from the world around him. He finds comfort in the digital realm, where he can escape the silence of his home and the disconnection he feels from his family. But even as he plays, there is a faint sense of loneliness in his heart. He wishes for something more, something real, but he doesn't know how to express it, doesn't know how to reach out to the others. As the evening draws near, the mother sets the table for dinner, her mind racing with thoughts of how to fix everything. She knows that this silence, this distance, is tearing them apart. She wants to talk, to share her feelings, to express the love she still holds for her family. But the words don't come. Instead, she simply places the plates on the table, the clink of the cutlery breaking the silence. She wishes for a moment of connection, for something to bridge the gap, but she doesn't know how to start. The family gathers around the table for dinner, but the conversation is sparse. The father asks about the children's day, but the responses are brief, absent of the warmth he used to find in their voices. The mother tries to make small talk, but it feels forced, awkward, as if they are all playing a part in a scene they no longer understand. The children, still distracted by their devices, offer little in the way of engagement. The silence that filled the house earlier now settles around the dinner table like a heavy fog, thick and suffocating. As they eat, the mother looks around the table at her family, wondering how they got to this point. She feels as though something precious has slipped away, and she doesn't know how to get it back. Her heart aches for the moments of connection, the moments of laughter and joy that seem so distant now. She wonders if they will ever find their way back to each other, if they can rediscover what it means to truly be a family. And as the meal comes to a close, the mother's mind lingers on the thought of happiness. What does it really mean? How can she bring it into her home again? How can she reconnect with her family and remind them that happiness isn't found in the things they own, but in the love and care they share for one another? Asterisk, as the evening fades into night, the house falls into silence once again. Each family member retreats to their own space, the distance between them growing ever wider. But none of them speak of it. They go through the motions of daily life, but their heart of the family feels broken, the connection lost. The mother lingers for a moment, standing in the quiet kitchen, wondering how to start. The days pass, and though the family continues with their routines, a subtle shift begins to stir in the air. The silence that once felt normal now feels heavier, more suffocating. It lingers around the dinner table, in the halls of the house, and in the spaces between the family members. The mother, though weary from her daily duties, can't shake the feeling that something is missing, something vital, something essential. But each time she attempts to break the silence, the words seem to catch in her throat, lost before they can reach the surface. One evening, as the sun sets and the house fills with the soft golden light of dusk, the mother sits by the window, watching the sky turn from soft pinks and oranges to deep blues. The air is cooler now, the evening calm, and for the first time in a long while, she allows herself to sit still. She doesn't rush to do the next task, to clean the dishes, to check the laundry. Instead, she just sits quietly reflecting, allowing herself to feel the weight of the silence in the house in her mind. She replays the moments of the past weeks, the rushed conversations, the distracted glances, the surface-level exchanges that felt more like obligations than expressions of care. She thinks back to the time when their home was filled with laughter, when every evening was a shared experience. How did they lose that connection? How did they become so distant from each other? She knows that the busyness of life, the pressures of work, and the pull of external distractions have all played their part. But deep down, she knows that something else is at play, something more subtle, more insidious. The father, too, has been feeling the weight of this distance. As he returns home from work one evening, he notices the quiet in the house, the absence of the usual sounds. The children are in their rooms, and his wife is sitting by the window, lost in thought. He can't remember the last time they had a meaningful conversation, the last time they truly connected. He feels a pang of guilt. He has been so focused on work, on providing, that he has neglected what matters most. He has neglected the very people who need him the most. He walks over to the window, where the mother sits, and for a moment, neither of them speaks. There is a silence between them that feels different now, not the comfortable silence of familiarity, but the uncomfortable silence of two people who have drifted apart. The father hesitates for a moment, unsure of how to break the tension. But then he speaks, his voice quiet but sincere. "I've been thinking," he begins, his words slow and measured. "We've been so busy with everything else, but I've realized that I've been neglecting you and the kids. I've been so focused on work, on making things better, that I've forgotten what really matters. I don't want to keep going like this." The mother turns to him, her heart heavy but hopeful. She feels a tear slip down her cheek, a mix of relief and sadness. She has wanted to hear these words for so long, but she hadn't known how to ask for them. She had been waiting for him to notice, to see the distance between them, to feel the absence of warmth in their home. And now, Finally, he is acknowledging it. "I feel it too," she says softly. "I've been so focused on making everything perfect, on keeping things running smoothly, that I've forgotten to connect with you, with the kids. I don't want to keep living like this either. I miss us." The father sits down beside her, and they both sit in the quiet for a moment, the weight of their words hanging in the air. It's a vulnerable moment, a moment of truth, and for the first time in a long while, they both allow themselves to feel the vulnerability of it. They don't have all the answers, but they know one thing for certain. They need to make a change. They can no longer live in this state of emotional distance. The mother gently places her hand on his, a small but meaningful gesture that speaks volumes. They don't need to say anything else. They both know what needs to be done. They need to reconnect, to re-establish the bond that has slowly weakened over time. They need to put aside their distractions, to prioritize the things that matter most: their family, their love, their shared moments. And they need to do it together, as they sit there, hand in hand. The house feels a little less silent. The walls, once filled with the echoes of forgotten words, now seem to hum with the promise of something new, something that will take time, patience, and effort, but that will ultimately bring them back to each other. They are ready to take the first step, to rebuild the connections they have lost, to create a home filled with warmth and understanding once again. The mother looks out the window at the night sky, feeling a sense of peace settle over her. The world outside is still, the stars shining brightly above. But inside, she knows that they have taken the first step toward healing. She knows that the journey ahead will not be easy, but it will be worth it. And for the first time in a long time, she feels hopeful. The weeks that follow are filled with small yet meaningful changes. The family begins to reorganize their routines, intentionally creating space for each other. The mother and father make a pact. No more phones at the dinner table. No more distractions during family time. Instead, they sit down together in the evening, quietly enjoying one another's presence, taking time to ask about each other's day and listen, really listen, to what the other has to say. At first, it feels awkward, almost unnatural. They aren't used to talking about their feelings or thoughts with such openness. The children, too, are unsure at first. The eldest daughter glances up from her phone with a skeptical look, unsure of the sudden shift. But as the days pass, she begins to see something she hasn't noticed in a while. Her parents' smiles, their laughter, the way they talk to each other with kindness and affection. Asterisk in the beginning. The conversations are simple. The parents ask the children about school, their friends, their hobbies. The children are a little reluctant at first, not used to this new attention. But gradually, they open up, their voices less hesitant, more alive with excitement and energy. The family begins to share stories about their past, about their hopes for the future. The mother tells the children stories of her childhood, of the games she played, the adventures she had, and they listen intently, their eyes wide with curiosity. The father, too, shares memories of his youth, of the lessons he's learned, and the children respond with laughter and questions. Slowly, a new warmth grows between them, a warmth that had been missing for so long. They begin to play games together in the evenings, sit down for movie nights, and share meals with purpose, talking and laughing as they eat. The house, once cold and distant, now feels alive with connection, even in the small moments like walking to the store together or doing chores. There's a renewed sense of closeness. They don't just exist together anymore. They experience life together. The mother, too, begins to feel a shift within herself. She had spent so much of her life focused on the external, the cleaning, the cooking, the responsibilities, often feeling overwhelmed by the weight of it all. But now, with the family coming together, she finds herself with more space in her heart. She feels the warmth of the connection growing within her, and with it comes a sense of fulfillment she hadn't realized she was missing. She no longer feels like she is carrying the burden of the household alone. As her husband takes on more shared responsibilities, and the children step up to help as well, there is a balance now, a rhythm that comes with the mutual respect and care they have for each other. But it isn't just about the practical changes. It's about the emotional shifts. They begin to talk more openly about their feelings, about their dreams, their fears, their uncertainties. The father, who had been so focused on his work, begins to share his doubts with the mother, asking for her perspective on decisions at work, on the future of their family. And the mother, in turn, begins to share more of her own desires, her own aspiration beyond the home things she had buried beneath the weight of daily life. The children, too, begin to open up more. The eldest daughter, who had always been quiet about her emotions, starts to confide in her parents about her struggles at school, about the pressures she feels. She talks about her friends, her hopes for the future, and her frustrations. The younger son, who had been shy and withdrawn, starts to ask more questions, curious about the world beyond his small circle. It is as though the walls between them have begun to fall away, one by one, and in their place, a new sense of trust is born. There are moments of laughter, moments of joy, and even moments of vulnerability. Sometimes they disagree, sometimes they argue, but now, when they do, they sit down and talk it out, seeking understanding and compromise. The connection is not perfect, it's not always easy, but it is real. It is authentic, and that is what matters most. One evening, as the family sits down to dinner, the father looks around the table, his heart full. His eyes meet his wife's, and they share a smile of quiet acknowledgement of how far they've come. The children are laughing together, sharing a joke, and he feels a warmth in his chest that he hasn't felt in years. For the first time in a long while, he realizes that happiness isn't about the things they have, it's about the people around them. It's about the love and connection they share. He feels grateful for the time they've spent together, for the new habits they've created, and for the bond they've rekindled. As they finish their meal and clear the table, the mother looks at her family, her children, her husband, and feels a deep sense of contentment. The house, once quiet and lonely, now feels like a home again. She knows there's still work to be done, still more to learn and grow. But for the first time in a long time, she feels at peace. Her family is together, and that is enough. Weeks have passed since the family began making small but profound changes. And with each passing day, the sense of connection deepens. The house feels different now. There's a lightness in the air, a warmth that wasn't there before. The family, once isolated in their individual worlds, now spends their evenings together talking, laughing, and simply being. The children have become more engaged, more eager to spend time with their parents. And the parents have started to see each other with new eyes, appreciating the small moments of kindness and affection that make up the fabric of their family life. The evenings are quieter now, but in the best possible way. There are no more rushing to finish tasks, no more silence at the dinner table, no more retreating into individual worlds of distraction. Instead, there are conversations, gentle laughter, and a feeling of togetherness that was once missing. The family takes evening walks in the park, hand in hand, noticing the beauty of the world around them, the rustling leaves, the birds in the trees, the soft breeze that brushes against their faces. It's simple, it's quiet, but it's everything. One evening, after a simple family dinner, the father speaks up, breaking the peaceful silence that has settled over them. "I've been thinking," he says, his voice soft but steady. "I've spent so many years chasing after things, work, promotions, success, and I've neglected what matters most. But now, I see it. It's not the money, the success, or the things we have. It's each of you. It's the time we spend together, the love we share. That's what truly makes me happy." The mother smiles, her eyes filled with warmth. She reaches out and places her hand on his. "I know," she says, her voice thick with emotion. "I feel the same way. For so long, I've been focused on keeping everything in place, on making sure everything runs smoothly. But I've realized that the real happiness comes from the moments we share, from being present with each other. That's what matters most." Their words hang in the air, and for a moment, the family sits together, enveloped in the quiet peace that has come from their newfound understanding. They don't need to say anything more. The weight of their shared experience is enough. They've discovered the truth of happiness not in what they do, not in what they acquire, but in the love they give and receive, in the quiet moments of connection, and in the simple act of being there for each other. The children who had been listening quietly look at their parents with understanding. They, too, have come to realize something important. Happiness isn't something that can be bought or earned. It's found in the relationships they nurture, in the moments they share, and in the kindness they show one another. For the first time in a long while, the family feels truly united. The distance that had once separated them is gone, replaced by a deeper understanding, a stronger bond. As the evening draws to a close, the family gathers in the living room. They sit together, no longer distracted by their phones or the demands of the outside world. The father and mother exchange a quiet look, one filled with gratitude and love. They both know that the road ahead will not always be easy, but they are no longer afraid. Together, they have found something far more valuable than anything money can buy: true happiness, rooted in love, respect, and connection. The children, too, feel the difference. The older daughter, who had once felt disconnected from her parents, now feels a sense of peace settle over her. She realizes that her family isn't perfect, but it's hers, and that's enough. She no longer feels the pressure to be someone she's not, to live up to an ideal that doesn't exist. Instead, she embraces who she is, knowing that her family accepts her just as she is. The younger son, too, feels the warmth of the changes. He smiles as he looks around at his parents and his sister, and for the first time, he truly understands what it means to be part of something bigger than himself. He knows that the love he shares with his family is something special, something worth cherishing. As the night wears on, the family shares a moment of stillness, a quiet recognition of the beauty of being together. The house, once filled with tension and distance, now feels like a sanctuary. They are no longer just individuals living under the same roof. They are a family, bound together by love and mutual respect. And in that love, they find happiness not in the things they have, but in the moments they share and the connections they nurture. The mother, father, and children sit together in the soft light of the evening, knowing that their journey toward true happiness is just beginning. They've learned that happiness isn't something that can be chased, but something that comes naturally when they are together, when they truly see one another, when they love each other without conditions. And so, as the night deepens and the house grows quiet, the family feels at peace, knowing that they have found the one thing that can never be taken from them: their love for each other and the happiness that comes from truly being together.